Oh, there we go. Hello, everybody. It is so good to see all of you again here. I want to thank you all for, again, coming out to the Scott Joplin Festival in 2025, supporting ragtime music, supporting the musicians who continue to make it, and I'm especially pleased that you're all here tonight. We have a very unusual and special program in the history of this festival. As I think many of you know, customarily, the evening concerts feature a variety of performers, but this year we are honored to have an individual, a scholar, a musician, just an incredible person with us making his debut at the Scott Joplin Festival. And it's just such an honor to present him this evening. So I want to thank all of you for being here for that. Before we get started, I would just like to ask you to make sure that your phones are silenced and make one final reminder that if you have tickets for tomorrow afternoon's program, and apologies for beating a dead horse here, but that will be at 12 o'clock in here, not the usual 2 o'clock. So just making sure we're all on the same page there, because I know there had been some confusion about that. It is 12 o'clock. So without further ado, tonight's program is going to be a little bit different than usual. When I was talking with Joshua Rifkin about this evening's program and how we might fill it, he suggested that he would like to play some of Scott Joplin's rags, talk a little bit about them, talk about his interest in the music. But I also thought it might be interesting, since we have him with us, to just learn a little bit more about his career, what brought him to Scott Joplin's music in the first place, and then where he's gone since recording Scott Joplin's music and what he thinks about it today. And so the second half of the program is going to be something of an informal discussion. Bill McNally and myself will first spend a little while just chatting with Professor Rifkin up here, and then we'll open it up for a question and answer from the audience. So we'd like to give you an opportunity to ask any questions you may have of Joshua Rifkin in the second half of the program. So I mentioned that now so you can be thinking of any questions you'd like to ask, and we'll do that in the second half. So I've already mentioned his name several times, and this is not going to be a big reveal, but you've also probably looked in your program and seen that every year the Scott Joplin Foundation presents a Lifetime Achievement Award to somebody who has made a significant contribution in the field of ragtime music performance, scholarship, or just in general to the promotion of the ragtime community. And like many of you, I think my first exposure to Scott Joplin's music was through a particular LP record that my dad had in his collection with a green cover and a very distinctive painting of Scott Joplin seated at an upright piano with some candlesticks on it. And when I was a budding classical piano student at the age of about 8 or 9 years old and heard The Entertainer somewhere, I told my dad about this piece of music I had heard, and he recognized the title. He was not necessarily a ragtime expert, but he had those records. Like a lot of folks back in the 70s, he bought those records, and he pulled them out for me and said, well, you have to hear this. If you like The Entertainer, listen to this album. This is Scott Joplin played the way Scott Joplin wrote it. And so that imprinted on me at a very early age, and I grew up listening to that record and the 2 volumes that followed, the one on the yellow cover, the one on the red cover, and just devoured that music, just loved it, made cassettes of it from those records, played them over and over and over again, and that was my introduction to ragtime. And I know I'm not alone in having discovered Scott Joplin through the recordings of Joshua Rifkin. And so it's really special for me to be able to present this award to him tonight. I think the ragtime revival as we know it in the 1970s, I don't mean to suggest that he was the only one who got that going. Certainly we had Larry Melton, we had Rudy Blesh, we had to Joshua Rifkin.
You know, if you stick around long enough, you get the odd award or this prize or that. But this one means exceptionally a lot to me. It's like none other I've had, and I really treasure it particularly. So thank you to the foundation, to the city of Sedalia, to all of you here. I'll have to say, to be here at this festival is a privilege, is an honor, and one that, as I've already indicated, means a very great deal to me. Now, I should mention that earlier today, thanks to the mediation of Larry Melton, I was able to talk briefly to my very old, but for a long time not seen, friend William Malcolm, and Joe Morris, his wife. Bill played a great role in my coming to Joplin, as you'll hear in the second half of this, but I think it's even fair to say that there would not have been my recordings of Joplin without Bill. As some of you may have heard, he's not in the very best of shape at the moment. But not least for that reason, I'd like this evening to be a shout out to Bill for all that he has done and for all that he has meant to me. Now, something else is to be said about this festival.